Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to Nettirahapodi. This is your host Tuomas Pigg and
Big Tuomas and small Jani, Anttonen.
good. And this time we are doing the Nettirahapodi in English. We are trying this out because our guest Sven Martinsson from Valega. Welcome. He speaks English, Swedish, and many other languages, but Finnish is not one of those. So welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
All right. I've been talking to Valega for quite a while, and I've wanted to get you guys on the show because I think it's very interesting what you do, and you can tell a lot more soon about what it is that you do. But can we get a brief explanation as to what Valega does and who is Sven Martinsson?
Yeah, absolutely. For what the Valega does, I think the easiest way to say it is basically we're digital detectives working within the crypto sphere as the focus and mainly doing it, of course, for the financial side of it, right? So not generally the police work, but actually doing the analysis on the blockchain, doing the deep forensics when needed, and that's for everybody, be it cryptocurrency exchanges, law enforcement, private individuals, you name it. So basically that, yeah.
So are you like private detectives, guns for hire in that sense, so that the law enforcement and actors like exchanges can use you whenever the public resource doesn't seem affect like it to be enough? Or
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, just in general, for the standard transaction monitoring that we anyway see the cryptocurrency exchanges doing, it's starting to spread even towards the banks and, even private individuals who have, let's say, high amounts of funds in crypto who want to continuously monitor what's happening with their funds.
And you're based in Finland?
Yes, in Helsinki.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. Yeah, we love the Finnish crypto scene, and we really want to get those like to the Finnish companies to flourish. So we are always excited to hear another case where that is what's happening.
Yeah, and connect to each other. It's a way too siloed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you just got a funding round like a year ago or
Yeah, so we basically, yes, we have been running a few of those. We're actually on our main big one now, actually. So that's really exciting. Now it's no longer necessarily the angel rounds. Now it's really going for the big dogs, and we've been growing every year, so it's exciting, really exciting.
cool. Can you give us an elevator pitch, or like what would you say if we were very serious crypto investors and you'd like to get us on the rounds?
Well, I'd say first and foremost, it's like, of course, we have been doing the standard transaction monitoring for so many years. And most recently, we have noticed the need for deeper investigations, right? And it's on one end, let those other companies in the sphere, your chain analysis and whatnot, to do those transaction monitorings, if so be it. Let us run the deep investigations and start working more with the banks to actually promote this big adoption through actually building what we are calling the total compliance nexus, right? So it becomes not only the standard of the transaction monitoring that we already have and the investigations, but even pushing further to push better compliance policies for the companies wanting to enter the sphere, but also for the financial institutions to really understand that there's nothing to be afraid of. We can all be part of this and be part of this 3 trillion euro market that we're looking at.
Okay, yeah. What do you say? What would be a typical case for you?
Yeah, I would say that from the day to day, a lot of it is actually litigation cases. So, we get contacted by a law firm who has some form of customer who has either been involved in a scam as a victim, or they have
being the scammer.
That has actually happened one time, where we actually found out that that was the case indeed. But also, you know, if you're looking from a banking perspective or M&A perspective, from merger and acquisitions, you know, doing the deep due diligence for the potential exposure of crypto, or you might know that those already have crypto, so then you just want to make sure that whoever you're dealing with on the other side of the table, be it, you know, a 20 million deal or a 200 million deal, it's somebody who you can trust on the other side as well. So those, I would say, are the most common ones. And then you do have those kind of criminal cases that are more, you know, the drug related ones, war profiteering and the likes, human trafficking and those.
So are that type of cases, is it that some public actor asks you to assist on it? And
That is basically what it is, be it on an EU level or international level, or even just purely on a Finnish level. Happens as well.
How much competition is there, like, globally? I guess there's not that much in Finland, but
For us, we're always saying like, oh, you know, those guys. But I mean, when you look at the big picture of it, there is really not on a global level, definitely not even on a European level. You know, if you compare it to like KYC providers, they're absolutely everywhere. But when it comes to this, I would say it's somewhat niched, but with a huge need, right? So I would say we're still somewhat in a blue ocean in that.
yeah, I'd guess there's like much of the chain analytics just for trading, like financial metrics, etc. But there's not that much your stuff. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then that is becoming critical to many companies, I think, to monitor everything and get like an alert when something strange is happening or whatever.
Yeah,
be it.
yeah.
So
And I mean, even for the transaction monitoring, I'd say, you know, maybe there's like 20 of them that are kind of out there. And again, if you compare it to other services out there, then, you know, where we're talking like thousands, then, you know, it's still pretty good spot to be in. And Valega being one of at the very tops there. So that's pretty nice.
Do you have some sort of products as well? Like what you're describing is very service based. Do you have like some sort of integrations to some like wallets, etc.?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, of course, for the cryptocurrency exchanges, it's the transaction monitoring service. That's the one that is the standard software as a service, as we all know and love. But then, of course, we do have some other products for, you know, looking into taxation. That's one of them that is coming out soon. And even to actually do the investigations similar to others, but we look more into the standard tracing and also the categorization in there and how that affects a potential victim, but also doing that kind of victimization score. Is that person really somebody who has done something suspicious or illegal, or have they just kind of been tainted by it?
criminality score, like 75%.
Yeah, we can call it that. And there are some more products coming out as well from our platform.
Yeah. Was that like probabilistic stuff that like it's not binary, but it's rather spectre?
Yeah, of course. When you're working with the blockchain, especially when you're working with compliance and criminals, you have to be looking directly at the data that is right there in front of you. So you have to be pretty sure that, you know, that's the guy or that's the wallet that has been doing the stuff. You also, of course, have to know that that really belongs to an exchange. So the standard clustering, the address exposures, all of those are still part of it in the same way that we already have been doing for years. But then when it comes to the actual investigations, that is where, you know, it goes beyond just the digital. We can even have, you know, we have had cases where we have actually had to send people to a physical location to look up.
Do you go there yourself, or do you use?
Go see the VHS tape. That
Yeah, well, we have people. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we have people that we contact for those. Yeah.
crypto detectives. Cool. How did you get started in this business? It's really like interesting, but it's hard to hard to see how it all started, sort of.
I mean, personally, like I am half Swedish, half Brazilian, and I studied international development studies, international relations, and kind of wanted to get into this whole save the world kind of vibe. But then, things changed, and I got into corporate and working with like banking, finances, insurances, even cybersecurity at one point. And that kind of passion grew already there. And then my best friend approached me and said, hey, this crypto stuff? This was like in 2016, 17 maybe. And he's like, we should get into that. And at first I was like, no, I'm not leaving my very stable job for this. But, the more we looked into it, the more it made sense that, hey, this can actually be something pretty big.
And it was the analytics at start, like right away.
Yeah, and I mean, and this is basically, well, kind of. What we entered into was to look at the ICOs, right? What are the good ICOs and the bad ICOs, but not from the sense of like these are hot. It was more of like, could this be a potential scam or not? Does it benefit society? That's kind of where we got off from the get-go. And this was in the end of 2017, so then a lot of the ICOs suddenly collapsed. The Bitcoin crashed something savagely, and a lot of it was because of scams, right? It was a lot of these pump and dumps and fake ICOs happening. And that's when that first anti-money laundering directive for crypto came in, which was part of the 5th anti-money laundering directive. Because at the same time in 2018, I don't know if you remember, all the banks here in the Nordics and Europe also got into their little money laundering drama, to say the least, right? Billions and billions of euros. But there was the first time you actually had crypto as part of it as well. And then suddenly we had a roadmap of what we needed to do to actually do the work. So we're like, hey, let's pivot and let's do the transaction monitoring and that. So that's kind of where it started, and here we are.
Cool.
Yes.
All right.
How's it developed like during those years? Like since you started, has the job become easier or way more difficult?
Well, it's definitely not become easier. If anything, it's become more busy. That's for sure. And from the time where we tested with a cryptocurrency exchange in Sweden, just having the red, yellow, green marker for the rating for the transactions, to now having in-depth detail of every transaction and every wallet, and being able to very quickly find, okay, the money went straight to this exchange, so if you're a law enforcement or you want to do your suspicious activity reporting, you can do this very simply now, right? So yeah, and especially the investigations part, because even though we have the tools for the investigations, rather than what we see has evolved is that rather than giving the tool for the forensic investigation, the fund tracing tool, now we see quite a lot of actors out there saying, hey, you know what, can you just do the work for us, give us the report, and we'll just pay you for it. So that's kind of where it stands. So suddenly now we're the ones having to do the work. And, that's fair enough. We learn more and more every day from every single investigation, actually.
All right. Yeah, so how does it work revenue side? I guess you have a licensing fee for the monitoring program, and then do you have some sort of like a cut of if you recover some funds, or you make a report that they want, and
Yeah, generally I would say that the standard software as a service for the exchanges is a price, and it's slightly tier based on what your needs are. And I feel that's kind of the standard in the industry anyways. When it comes to the investigations, we do have a set fee for each step that is required in an investigation. So at first we take over the case itself. Usually, preferably, a lawyer has already done most of the work in the sense of finding out what has happened from the potential victim or from the M&A case, or whatever it is, and then we take that, see, okay, what are the options here that we have. how big will this be, how much work is it, and then from there we have a starter fee and basically run investigations step by step, right? So they can get 3 reports, for example, one of them being just the fund tracing report, another being an actual criminal report, and the third one actually one that goes into court where we have to present in court and become like expert witnesses, for example. So then there's those 3, and then that is of course more of the professional side.
Sure. All right. Jani asked a little bit about it, but has the crime sort of changed in the recent years? Like, are there more sophisticated actors, or what's like?
So, I mean, the more money there is in an industry, the more people want to get it. I'd say that from those beginnings of the standard fake ICOs or pump and dumps, it's definitely become a lot more advanced. And I think that the first time we actually noticed that this is now on a whole different level, it wasn't the standard scams. It was actually during COVID. And of course, a lot of people were desperate. So suddenly you're having a lot of criminals trying to scam people out of funds, saying like, send us money in crypto and we'll help out somehow. But one that became kind of interesting was when it came to, you remember you had to have those vaccine certifications to go to the pub. Yeah. So there was a lot of those fake certificates that you've had the vaccines going around, and people were paying those they were paying those with Bitcoin, or Ethereum or whatever, and that was weird. And then you get like basically like when we were teenagers getting fake IDs kind of thing. It was like the same, but and it's just like just get the vaccine, like but those were growing and they were becoming more and more sophisticated. And of course, that's died out now. But we see with the growth of AI and these romance schemes, or what we call them mostly is the pig
romance schemes.
Romance, yeah.
So, or the pig butchering schemes, I guess is the correct.
That's harsh.
Those are the ones that are really going in it right now. And it can be that you have been talking to somebody for 6 months, and that's not at all the person. Even if you've done a video conversation, it's just purely an AI you're talking to, and they can be so believable that technically even a law enforcement agents fall for that.
Didn't Teemu in the GK episode, didn't he say that they had like video AI?
Yeah, there's been like phishing.
Yeah, and it was really good that it was they couldn't really notice on the surface level that it wasn't the guy it was supposed to be, but then they realized something was off, and
even back to the COVID certificate stuff. I guess they'd work. Like in some cases they work, because once we were we're going to Spain, and in the airport you had to have the COVID vaccine certificates checked, and the one who was supposed to check it was just like, just go. Yeah.
I paid half an ether for this certificate. What do you mean you're not gonna look?
But in some instances you could have like doctors actually making those certificates, because they're like, we have worked so hard for this now, we're not getting paid enough for this, so
let's make an extra buck on the side.
It's sad, but people do crazy things when they're desperate, that's for sure.
Yeah, and if they think that they can't get caught, so they're like, why not? I've always wanted that watch, so let's.
Exactly, and I mean now, even they're getting more sophisticated in how the supply chain is working with these. Even, you'll have entire organizations that work with customer service and everything. You go into the dark web and there's your standard ransomwares that you would have where they lock your computers, and it's like, here, pay us this much Bitcoin. And Bitcoin is always the easiest one, because even a person who doesn't know, they might be able to buy Bitcoin simply. And then they're there. But then from the criminal side, there's even customer support. There's, subscription ongoing unlocking computers, and it's just like, what? How is this like a thing? But that's how advanced it gets.
Yeah, I heard about that. It was like crime as a service. So you pay like, I don't know, 100K, and then you get full customer support and everything for it.
In a way they honor the actual crime, in the sense of, it's like, we'll only lock that computer one time and that's it, and once that the victim pays, it's unlocked, and we will honor the fact
The ransom, yeah.
we will, never lock that computer again. And it's just like, okay.
They depend on that trust, because it helps them if the victim knows that by paying they will actually get the computer unlocked, and that helps the criminal.
And with these pig butchering schemes you see now, it can go on for years before they even ask for your first deposit, right? And that's what gets it. And what we've seen, for example, in Finland.
So they keep the money on the blockchain.
Oh, I mean, no, I mean, like, they keep talking, they keep becoming friends, or online lovers or whatever. And, then after a year and a half or 2 years, they're like, hey, you know what? I just got into this investment. You should jump in on here too. And that's where it starts. And it's like, oh, but now we only need 40,000. Oh, but now we need another 4K. Oh, and then, they will return you the money, actually return you the money. So you see that, oh, I got something. And they're like, oh, but you know what? If you do 50K this time, and then you just send that money right back, and then with an additional 10, and then it just keeps going, and then something happens.
They've evolved.
Yeah. And they can have like these perfect screenshots from Binance where it shows, but it's all fake, right? It's not, if they would trace that wallet, you'll see there's nothing on there, It's
I remember the meme. There was like a construction guy who was smoking like beside a wall, and then I think his pack of cigarettes dropped, and then it dropped like below this like door, which was like a garage door, and then back came 2 packs of cigarettes, and he was like, oh, what the hell? And then he put some money there, and it doubled again, and he was like, oh no. And then after a while, he put everything he had and borrowed his friend's money and threw it all there, and then nothing, it was all gone. So that's pretty much the same.
That's the perfect way to explain that that situation. And here in Finland, unfortunately, the people who fall for it the most are the ones who just got into pension, for example. They want to make an extra buck. They want to get into something new.
Like Seppo from Salatut Elämät, who was like a couple.
Yeah, that was an unfortunate case, very well known, and even there's like the scam continued on even when he had reported to the police, and then there's like, oh, we're legal advisors, we want to help you. Give us money, and
Double-edged
again.
And especially, when you get those like, oh, but this is the FBI, or this is the SCA in the UK. We're here to help you out, and it's like, no, they won't call you. Like, just don't. And it's the thing we tell so often. We inform that law enforcement, especially on those levels, will not just give you a call, ask for your information like that, and want to help you recover this. They will maybe find some information about it, but they'll never.
So would they call you and say that come to the station or something like that?
Never. They will just actually. I mean, maybe they can. We saw one case where they actually met up, and they said, "Oh, but we're like the Interpol, and we're working on this together with the FBI, and meet us in Denmark, in Copenhagen at this time, and we'll help you out with this and this and that." And they did show up, but of course they weren't them. It was scammers just really good at acting the part, and it just kept on going and going and going, and they're like, oh, and of course law enforcement will never ask you to pay them.
It's not crime, it's a lifestyle. That sounds crazy. what the mindset has to be like a actor on a scam where you are like, that's crazy. That's like spy stuff or something like
And
that.
you can have, we saw one case where there was a person who had an entire website just for that specific scam for that specific person. So every time they would go in there, they would see all their money and everything. And we're like, yeah, but this website, you are the only user. Like, they have made this specifically for you. This law firm is just built for you. And for us, very easy to check and see, like, okay, well, that's a picture from that somebody took from Pinterest from an office, and then these are PixArt photos and stuff like that. It's unfortunate, but they're getting very elaborate.
Do you also do any due diligence work unrelated to crime?
Yeah, absolutely. So your M&As and those are absolutely part of that. Even, for example, bankruptcy cases, we'll have lawyers contact us and say, hey, can you just check to see if there's any potential crypto involvement in this? Divorce is one, of course.
Does he have crypto?
Yeah, exactly. Or does she actually? This happened as well. But it's like, all of those do exist, and we do the due diligence on those. And even for simple onboarding to a bank or so, it's also something that we can quite happily do.
Mm-hmm. How could you had I'm thinking about that. How could you find out if somebody actually has Bitcoin? Let's say that somebody wanted to know if their husband. I remember him talking about Bitcoin, but does he actually have any because he didn't declare any on the divorce or something like that? So how would you approach that?
I can't tell you anything.
That no, but I mean, of course, at times it's very hard to find that out in any way. But depending on what level of, let's say, what we have been allowed to do, for example, if it's, for example, court ordered, things like that becomes a bit easier. Sure. But if it's just a private person say, hey, can you check it up? Then of course we are bound by by the law, and we're bound by just what's out there publicly, but sometimes it can be a simple thing as one post on a Telegram chat somewhere, or a tweet.
Oh yeah, I made 4x on that.
Yeah, exactly. And and then somehow things just unravel.
You can pretty easily like link people based on their social.
And if it's like court ordered, and we have, for example, bank accounts, then for us, we can look through those. And, even though it's not always 100% clear that it's crypto, we have a database ourselves where it's like the crypto exposure. So, you're having exchanges with various different legal names. We're like, yeah, but that's a crypto company. So there we go. And then, it's about finding that transaction, that bank transaction on the blockchain somehow, which we have tools for, of course.
Could you see if you get their IP address, then you could see if it has touched any nodes or like.
That is something that we have developed in house. Don't use as much as you'd think, because people use VPNs, and that creates more confusion than solving the cases, basically.
Do you have any VPN providers you can recommend that don't respond to your queries?
Wow, that's just gonna sound like sponsored by.
No, you don't have to answer that. It's just
or I might be in trouble with my own VPN provider.
Yeah. Do you have any examples of cases that you have rejected, or what kind of cases could be like that you don't want to touch them, or?
Those that we're 100% sure they are the criminals. That is happened that we reject those.
Or they're like whitewashing. They're like.
Yeah, basically, looking at, oh, this happened to me and I need to, damage the other side. And we're like, yeah, but we looked at this and you're actually the criminal. So You know,
I'm not gonna pay for that part.
especially when we see like, oh, okay, but you know, this is like millions regarding millions. And then, you know, it can be that we do the due diligence part and send that in as a report into the law enforcement, for example, and then they do it whatever they will. But of course, unfortunately, a lot of the people who contact us are people who have lost, you know, 20,000 or 30,000 or 500 euros, and they'll contact us, and we'll be like, yeah, unfortunately, we can't. It does cost to run these investigations, and although
It's not a charity.
it's not, unfortunately not, and even we have had the plan internally to kind of build a fund where, you know, for example, law firms or crypto companies can put that into the fund and to be able to help those kind of people. So then it's like wherever, you know, so then you're already doing the kind of pro bono, which we have done several times, pro bono work as well. But then it's like, you know, we can help the community show they're safer, but then not only law firms, but also the crypto community can show that, you know, what there is help to get. And of course, there has to be some strict rules on even there who to take in. But at least, you know, the mother of 3 who has lost funds trying to travel to another country because of war can actually get some help. You know, that's kind of, so we're still in the early stages of that, but it's part of the plan.
Yeah, that sounds great. I think it would be a great or interesting if like many crypto companies, if they're thinking about charity, then that could be something that they would like to be part of.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then you know, and then you cover your corporate social responsibility immediately.
Exactly. Done next on the list. Yeah.
I was thinking about something, but I forgot. um, do you want to continue?
Sure.
Or should I ask? No, I remember. Like, what do you do in a case where there has been these like spam transactions that are like trolling users, that they're dusting, like sending stuff from like Tornado Cash addresses. How do you handle those?
I mean, generally, what we see is that there's usually a pattern. We of course it's always like, you know, follow the big money, but in the end of the day, the criminal still wants to take that money out for themselves, and the most important thing is actually to trace the main funds to an exchange where we know they have done the KYC, they follow regulations and likes, right? So that's basically the point. So when we see that, for example, Peel chain is one that is very common, where a criminal will try to hide their stuff, you know. So
BNB chain.
the Peel chain. So when like when an exchange is kind of like just cleaning up their stuff, and they'll like do the kind of spread of funds everywhere, a criminal might actually piggyback on that. Oh yeah. So then suddenly,
Like exchange addresses.
yeah. So suddenly, that that criminal has just flooded the, let's say, the law enforcement agent with 150,000 addresses, you know, but we have the tech to actually detect that happens, and it kind of just ignores it, and it's very similar if you're dusting things. And, you know, similarly to mixers as well, mixers are always the hardest one, I would say. It's always a little bit of a pain when there's a mixer involved, but already there, you'd be like, okay, but that's already quite suspicious. You know, it's something we know is used for laundering money quite well. So if you're already there, odds are we can look somewhere else and find other funds. But basically, a lot of times that same pattern comes back, even if you're doing chain hopping. You know, we see like, okay, but now you're coming back to Bitcoin or Dogecoin or whatever, you know. And one thing that criminals are not doing so much anymore are the locked blockchains. Those are not like your Moneros and the likes, right? Those are not happening as much anymore, which also helps us.
What is that?
Because I mean, of course, if you're in that network, it's one thing, but your day-to-day criminal who's just trying to extract. I mean,
It's easier on Ethereum.
I mean, yeah, and also, you know, exchange will be like, okay, but that's Monero. It's a pain in the ass for us to do this in terms of legality and compliance. So, you know, you don't even have that on the chain on the exchange list. You know, so
There's no liquidity.
yeah. So what are they gonna? So it's like, great. Now I have my money on Monero. I cannot do anything with it. You know.
Just peer to peer. Like
Exactly. So unless you're part of that massive network and know everybody you need to, then fair enough. But those guys who are just doing the
But yeah, I've been like personally quite stressed out sometimes. Like, do people know my address, and do they wanna like dust my address with some fake transactions? But I don't need to worry about that.
I mean, not really. I mean, that's the thing where that victimization score also comes in. You know, it's like we ignore it. We see like, okay, you know, you've been clean the whole time, and now suddenly you've ransomwared someone with like 50 cents. You know, it's no, yeah, and I know that a lot of providers out there, they will taint it anyways. They will red flag it, and it's been a thing. But this is where we really take it, where we say like, no, he's just a victim, or he's just received.
Because then to like untaint your address, you need to use Tornado Cash.
Yeah, to just yeah. And it's like, and of course, I think a lot of
How does that work?
Like if your address has been tainted with some Tornado Cash transactions that you haven't done yourself, that's the point.
Yeah.
And then like exchanges blacklist your address,
I know.
and all the addresses you send money from that original address to.
You taint them as well.
Then like it's hard to escape the status.
How do you do it? You said that in order to get it clean, you have to use Tornado Cash.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, you mean that you have to send the funds through? Well, no, but then you taint that.
You have to launder them yourself, basically. After.
But don't you taint the?
yeah.
Don't you taint the other address as well, because it will have received it from Tornado Cash?
Yeah, well, basically you do, but you need some way out.
Yeah, you need to talk to the exchanges and hope they help you out, which I don't think is that often.
It's a pretty nasty stuff to receive.
It is, but I mean, and it can happen even, you know, you're getting actual Bitcoin that is tainted, and they are 20 cents, and you're like, great, there it is, and what you're gonna do?
Has this happened by accident? Like actually, like
I don't know. I can say I'm sure it has, but you know, in the grand scheme of things, I would say that it's usually targeted. You know, and you'll even have, you know, old exchange addresses who, of course, have received lots of tainted funds, and they will still be flagged as technically tainted. They'll be green listed because the industry knows that, you know, oh, but that belonged to that hack in whatever 2023. You know.
Wouldn't that tainting problem be easier with Bitcoin, because you can kind of remove only the part? Yeah.
Like if you trace the first Bitcoin, then, you know, everybody's a criminal. Everybody's ever interacted. If you go that far down, you know, then that's just how it is. But that's why there is a standard of how many steps backwards you're actually looking at before you put that tag on it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I see. What would you say are the criminals' favorite chains, or what do they like to use?
I mean, of course, just all the ERC20 tokens was really a thing up until recently, but now with the changing global situation, I say Bitcoin is really coming back to it. But of course, then it's because it's the biggest. There's so much happening there. Easier to hide. Well, it's not, but it is, or they think that it is. But also, you know, you can make the fast transactions, get it out, and before anybody's noticed it, you have your cash, right? So on that, and especially if you're looking at, you know, the current wars that are happening right now in the world, it's just easier to just, you know, train a new soldier if they need to purchase a weapon illegally or whatever. Just use this. It's that we know it works. It's there. It's the most valuable. Just go for it. So that happens absolutely. So it's coming back, but because it is also with the adoption, it's easier to trace. It's much easier to actually be compliant with it, and I think that's the beauty of it.
You mentioned wars, and I thought about sanctions. You must deal with some sanctions lists as well.
Absolutely. I mean, that's part of the standard. So in our database, whenever there's more and more of these sanctioned transactions that are happening to sanctioned countries, they're...
How often do those change? Like, how often new information comes? Like, this is a sanctioned address, and who are the
often as you'd think.
Police?
It is, yeah. I mean, it can be everything from EU Commission to Interpol, Europol, your local, your tax offices. It's financial inspection agencies, but they don't change as often as one would think. It's not a daily thing. But what we have noticed, and which helps our case, is that quite often when we see something that has been sanctioned and we're continuously monitoring and updating our own systems, our algorithm allows for the pattern recognition of what might be happening with this address in the future, or what other addresses could be connected. And when we have gotten a new list, we usually already have that in our system, so
they're too late, basically. Yeah.
But that's a good thing. So we already know in a way.
All right. I had some other question about tokens, but I can't remember it anymore. It's
ERC tokens.
Yeah, about something like typical change or like, but I can't remember. There was another part of it, but I don't remember.
Meme coins.
Yeah, no.
Do meme coins play a part in criminal activity?
I mean, rug pulls.
Rug pulls, yeah.
Well, yeah, rug pulls, yeah. I mean, I guess the Haktua one was pretty, pretty big one, and there's been others as well, even world leaders maybe. But
yeah, Libra.
I don't know if we want to talk about that too much, but it's quite interesting to think about, what do the criminals believe that works, but it doesn't actually work anymore. But maybe we don't want to give too many.
Let's not give any advice.
Common operational mistakes, but maybe that's better left out, I think.
Yeah, we don't want to give them the rule book, right? Because it's like, even for us, like, we know what.
It's better that they think that you can't see it.
Maybe the better question, better tool to give would be like for the layman, like how to take care of your privacy and like wallets, wallet hygiene, etc. What's the best way to do it?
Yeah, and I mean, like, Tornado Cash can be also used. Like, let's say people donated to Ukraine crypto, and maybe you don't want to link your identity to a donation to Ukraine.
If you're from Russia,
or if you fear the Russian forces or something like that, then you could use Tornado Cash to send that. But it's like a crypto native way to keep your privacy. But of course, it can be used for wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, it's like with everything, it's easier said than done. But it's stay informed. I mean, it's really that. Maybe don't be first to jump into that new potential investments or new potential coins coming out. It's just, if you're not a really experienced trader, maybe just see what other people are doing, see what comments are coming out. I mean, it's the same thing as if you're gonna buy the new Xbox or the new PlayStation. You want to see what's happening first. If you don't really afford it, you look into it like, oh, what are people saying? Is it a total useless console, or is it actually worth the money? Maybe it's similar there, but then understanding as well what types of scams are out there. And I think part of it is, I know exchanges are doing it to a certain level, explaining what's happening out there in terms of potential scams and what to be careful about, but it has to be more pronounced. It just has to be out there as like standard.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that very experienced people can also get scammed. Like I just a couple of weeks ago, I saw one guy on Twitter was reporting that oh damn, and I just saw someone lose 40 million, and it was like they had like they were sending a test transaction, saw that it went through, and then they sent the actual transaction, but they copied the address from their like Etherscan, and the scammer had put a toxic transaction there, which had pretty much the same ending as his destination address, but it wasn't the exact.
So yeah,
So he sent 40 million to the scammer's address. So stuff like that can happen, even if you think you know.
absolutely. I mean, absolutely. And if you're trading constantly, I mean, you will at some point lose your money by being scammed rather than just a bad investment, right?
Yeah, and I mean, the pace is very fast in crypto when the market is hot and there's many like meme coins or something, and then you get the most benefit if you're the fastest. You gotta think fast, and then criminals take that into.
But I mean, yeah, and I generally, I mean, that's with any investment, be it with crypto or be it in the banks, banking system. You always just have basically the same things that you have to be looking out for is like, can you trust the person on the other side? If not, just do the due diligence. I know if you're gonna send even 100,000, maybe just pay somebody the 10K or whatever, just to make sure it's the real deal. It's a safe transaction. Just do it, even if you're an avid trader, even if you traded 100 times before.
Yeah, that sounds a steep commission there.
Well, yeah, fair. No, I just said a number. That's not what it costs.
Yeah.
Set up an OTC trade. Yeah, 10%.
10%.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Well, that has been the case sometimes, depending on how risky the transaction is actually going to be.
Yeah. That reminds me when Tether went down. It was like 96% of the original price. I can't remember what is it called. When that happens.
Flash crash.
No, well, basically, yeah.
Liquidation cascade.
Can't remember it in English now for some reason. But yeah, anyways, many people took like a 6% loss over losing all of the funds, even though the price bounced back very quickly. So it was like 96 cents or 94 cents or something like that. And then people were like consolidating to other stables at a 6% loss or something like that. But yeah, sometimes you gotta do it if you want to get your to make sure. Yeah.
Have the efforts of Valega or your colleagues or similar companies, have they actually like reduced crime in a very like in a, let's say, significant manner? Yeah.
Solving it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'd be out of jobs if there wasn't any crime. but I mean, I guess it's a yes and no in a way. Of course, the more work we do helping law enforcement actually be able to shut down larger criminal organizations. Like in the Nordics, I think one of the bigger ones was these Flugsvamp 1.0 and 2.0, 3.0 eventually, I guess. Those are, of course, things change with that. But the more the industry grows itself, the more criminals are going to be out there, the more tools they can get, the more sophisticated they get. So, it's a cat and mouse game, But absolutely, it's getting better and better. So we're getting faster at actually...
Stronger cat.
Yeah. Faster cat, I would say even.
Yeah.
But I think it is really that, it's just getting better and better, and we're getting faster at actually capturing the bad people rather than, you'll see sometimes law enforcement will work 2 years on figuring this out. And from the moment we get that first information, within the first 10 minutes, we're like, oh, that's where it is. You know, it's, and I'm not even joking. Like it is really that.
I can believe that if it's like some small town cop and it doesn't go any above that, it's like, I don't know how to use a computer even.
You know, we know some regions where there's 2 police officers who handle all of the crypto for the entire nation. You know, and it's like, okay, and then they're getting like 500 cases a month that are coming in, and you know, somebody's like, oh, I paid the subscription for $10 with crypto, and you know, but that's still something he has to look through, you know. So he just piles up and piles up. So yeah, they need to work more with us.
I remember my wife getting scammed for like 30 euros or something like that on like an online like secondhand thing. But yeah, it was like we reported the crime. I was like, yeah, do that because at least they get it on the statistics or something like that. And then like 2 days after, the police called her, and it was really fast on the Finnish police side. But I was really amazed. But it was 30 euros. Like,
Yeah, but I mean, they'll call you back and they'll say, but we're shutting this down though.
Yeah.
yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, but I would say that that's a place you get scammed a lot more than with crypto, for sure. I mean, crypto is just getting safer and safer. The more people know about it, the more people use it, the more financial institutions come into it.
Yeah, I think I've lost more money due to my own mistakes on blockchain, like fat fingering something or address mistake or something like that. But I've been scammed once. I remember it was on Twitter. There was like, I remember a friend of mine talking about moonbirds, and I was like, oh, they're the hot stuff now. And I looked into it a bit, and I was like, oh, cool. And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna pay like uh, exorbitant amount for an NFT. And then uh, one time on Twitter, I saw like new moon birds, like their egg airdrop or new collection dropped, and it's selling out quick. And it was really cheap. It was like, I don't know, couple two or 300 or something, and I could see the counter. It all looked very professional and like legit. I was like, okay, maybe I'll go ahead and put like $200 or something like that, and bought the NFT or minted the NFT. And of course, I didn't mint anything, and it just went away. I was like, oh no, did they get me? And I was at the same time that I pressed the mint button, I was like, okay, something's wrong, and I couldn't undo it in time. It went through. I was like, because there was a red flag that I kind of ignored, but then it came with like, yeah, but I was processing it in the back, and when I pressed mint, I was like, oh no, there was and then I went back and I checked it better. I was like, oh no, the handle isn't correct, and I was like, oh no, there was, oh, they got me.
Yeah, the NFTs were a pain for a lot of people. A lot of people made mistakes on the purchases, obviously, as we know.
But you live and you learn. It's good to get a little bit hit on the fingers, and then maybe you avoid a bigger mistake.
And it was 200 and not 200,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least you didn't press approval for every transaction inside your wallet. Approvals are bad. Like please do use like approval remove tools. Like please use them. Like they pile up quite much. Like your whole account could be in danger, like even years into the future if you have approvals on. It's huge.
Oh, all right. What about working with law enforcement? What would you say are the best countries or country to work with, and is there big differences between the jurisdictions? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the EU in general they work together quite well, but then there are those things that stops it, and that's the jurisdictions. What one can do, the other can't, and it becomes a bit of a hassle. But that's where we have the luxury that we're not bound by jurisdictions in that sense. We can technically give anyone information. Yeah, basically. Of course, yes, we have to abide by certain laws, absolutely. But in general, to just do the communication, that's pretty straightforward, I would say. Then if they give you the information or not, that's a whole different story. But yeah, it's getting better, absolutely getting better. Work with law enforcement. There are several programs that we work with as well, both on a full European level and an international level. So I would say things are definitely getting better, but it could be better.
Have you built relationships with exchanges and stuff that maybe you don't need like a court order? Do they like voluntarily give you also, or is it usually that you say that we have the mandate from the police or something?
Yeah, I mean, we don't do that part. We've decided that it creates a bit of a, not only in terms of like GDPR, there is some issues with that. So basically what we do is that we make sure that the lawyers have everything they need to be able to do that. But yeah, we do have some reports with some exchanges that we can actually go and say, hey, you know what, this happened. Not pointing any fingers at you. We just need to get this information, and then they will give it. The bigger ones, if you're looking at like the US and so on, that's a whole different story. And especially when it comes to these hot wallets are here. We just looking to make sure about this and this. And they're like, oh, we cannot give those out because they're or even like they don't want to, and we're like, I mean, we are gonna find out. It's just now it's gonna take longer. We still have the system. It's like,
let me see your warrant.
Yeah, exactly.
I can come back with it.
Yeah, no, but yeah, so yes and no, I'd say. The Finnish are pretty decent, I would say. The Nordics in general are pretty open.
What would you say about authorities in general? Are they reactive or proactive? Are they?
I feel like I've gotten that question once before, and at the time I said they are proactive. Now I'm thinking it's falling towards the more reactive side. With Micah and that, it has already given them, okay, now do you as CASPs do your stuff, right? It's on you now. And with DAC 8 as well, similarly there, now it's become more similar to the banking regulations as we've seen the previous banking regulations. It's closer to it, which also allows financial institutions to enter it in a much easier way as well. So then I think what's happening here, rather than putting forward several new regulations, it becomes more like, let's see what the banks are doing together with the exchanges and let's follow that. I do know that there are some new regulations recommendations coming out this year. Cannot really talk about it here, but they should be pretty beneficial in a sense.
Iso juttu tulos.
For the crypto community in general.
Big things coming.
Cool. Very cool. Do you think that it's what you talked about, Micah, and kind of dispersing that responsibility? Is it good in your point of view, or does it make it a bit harder for you to work?
I mean, as an investigator company, Micah is definitely good in terms of how it helps us do our work. I understand there's a big split in the community in general over Micah, but I think that if you want adoption, this is kind of where we want to be. It's I would say the first actual regulation that was taken into consideration together with exchanges overall and the crypto community. It wasn't suddenly just a bunch of suits sitting in Brussels saying, hey, you know what, we're just going to do this and good luck. Now it was actually somewhat a consensus about what is the best way forward. And yeah, some things are good, some things are less good. Yeah, I think in general it helps adoption.
Yeah. What would you say are some pain points, or like where's the most friction coming from, or is it just
in what way do you mean?
Like let's take your average investigation or something like that. What would take the most time, or what's the most time consuming, or where does most of the work go, or where's the most friction? Do you have to wait for something to go through from the authorities, or like?
Well, I mean, from our point, the work we do goes relatively faster than quite a lot of other investigators in the industry, and that is because we have built all the tools, we know how they work. The biggest friction is actually getting the correct information from the customer a lot of times, and especially if we're looking at a criminal case, somebody who got scammed, because more often than not, they're embarrassed. They feel like this shouldn't have happened to them, even though I can tell them, there's another 20,000 people like this in this country alone. It's like or like in the Nordics right now. So like it's more of getting them to understand that you can be completely transparent. You can tell us exactly what happened, because when we start finding stuff that doesn't match up with the story, then we don't know if we should keep looking into that or if it's just fluke, or what's the situation. So I think that is the most time consuming, and also getting them to understand what they have done, right? That it's like it's like you did log in here. Now you gave somebody complete access to your computer. What did they do? And they don't. They went into this bank account, and it's like it's not. That's a wallet. Like that's an exchange that they went into. So it's not a bank. Those things. I think those are where it happens in terms of when we are doing the investigation. But once we hand it all over to a lawyer, I would say that then it is up to law enforcement and judges and whatnot. And depending on how good the lawyer is, that's kind of where the time.
Do you have any recommendations about lawyers if you get scammed out of a decent amount? Who should you contact in EU?
I mean, here in Finland, we work with Nordic law quite closely. I think they are probably at the peak of what crypto law is all about.
Shout out to Nordic law. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely. So I would say, and they have a vast network in general all over, not only the EU, but, abroad, be it Singapore or whatnot. So I would say that's a good starting point from a Nordic perspective. If it's crypto that has been involved. But yeah, and of course, when the frictions we find in terms of the due diligence work, the banks and the standard, your big fours, then it's the amount of data we get. That can be really brutal. Many times they're very old school, so we will literally get papers with, hundreds of thousands of bank transactions rather than on a digital format.
how is that still possible? It's like, did you investigate Stora Enso or something like paper mill or like what?
But it's so many times, it's like things that the lawyers have received, and they have to do the bureaucracy of things, and it's just like, oh my god, really? And
That's crazy.
So do you digitize them then? Yeah, and it's like
don't know if we're allowed to, but we do. I mean, it has to be done because we have to be able to match them to our database. And again, if suddenly you have a wallet, an address, or a transaction, and you're not going to manually.
No way, no way. Yeah, that's so horrible.
Yeah, but it's getting much better though, much better.
Reminds me of the guy who said on Twitter that he spends like $15,000 a year to anger the IRS, so that he creates these bots that will trade like do very like hard and multiple trades, and like there's tens of thousands of trades, and they all result to like zero profit. But then he prints them, all the transactions, on like paper, like a lot of paper, and then he mixes all the pages, and then he delivers that to the IRS, and it's all zero profit.
that's a special kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is.
I wish I was that passionate about hate, about hating to my full potential. No, that's hilarious.
So how many cases, like, well, I'm not asking for a specific number, but are there many cases that are pretty much like solved via automation? And you have basically, I guess you have some sort of threat models you can just plug into the data, and then look like, yeah, this is a clear case and this is the address that's done it, and ta-da, everything is solved.
The tada part.
Does that happen? Does that happen?
Absolutely, it has happened. It has happened where we just put it into our system and we're like, whoa, that took 20 minutes. Yes. And we know. And then actually the thing that took time was writing the report, you know, which we are also really starting to automate on a case-by-case basis when we start understanding like how they are working, right? But yeah, I would say that in terms of the analytics itself, we feed it into our system, the system does its thing, and we get kind of the tracing and the information and the likes, and then it's...
ChatGPT, make no mistakes.
Oh man, I wish there was something just like that. No, but I mean, we're building a pretty robust system to actually even generate the report. So then the main human part would be to just review and connect the final dots, basically.
What about AI? How has that changed? That's a big subject here, but how has that? Let's start from the criminal side. Has that been like a big trend like lately? Has that changed behavior or like patterns? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we see that suddenly scams are happening a lot faster than what it used to, right? You know, from the times where we remember, oh, I'm a Nigerian prince email, to suddenly, you know, you're having somebody call you who sounds just like your kid or your mom, and they're like, I'm stuck in this situation and I would need, you know, 600 euros right now. And that's that. And then you just repeat that call to, you know, 50,000 people all over Europe, and
someone will bite.
Somebody will bite. And especially when it comes like social media now, you know, your voice is out there quite often. And
just gonna ask about that. How do you get the data to get 50,000 valid voices for them? But yeah, I guess it works like that.
Through this podcast.
Through this podcast. I heard myself, I played around with an AI and I heard myself actually pretty spot on.
Yeah, but I mean like, let's say somebody wanted to scam me and then they would, let's say that they were calling me as the sound of my child or something like that, and then they would have to know who is my child and then find their social media profile or something like that and then connect those dots. But I guess these days, like at least the older people have like tagged in a public like Facebook site who is their like
yeah, that makes it a lot easier. And it's, you know, it's all these things like, you know, have the two-factor authentications on everything, even if it's the simplest of apps, and just, you know, protect yourself, protect your kids wherever you can. I mean, it's really like, it's getting really advanced, and, you know, and it's not necessarily doing crypto crime. It's all kind of crime, you know. It's like, fine, like, you know, I'm here, I'm lost, can you come and pick me up? But then actually you're gonna meet a kidnapper. Yeah. Yeah, it's,
oh man,
it happens.
yeah, that's not great. So what about
He's starting to think.
yeah. So what about on the prevention side? Does AI help you? Like, you said that you have built those automations and stuff like that. So I guess it helps with that at least. And
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, and just for you know, finding certain types of data, OSINT work we do a lot. You know, so actually the OSINT work. So actually the real world, the real digital world. So not the blockchain financial one, right? Yeah, the open source intelligence. Yeah. So that's basically something that AI has helped with a lot, where you're able to, rather than spend, you know, 8 hours on, you can find quite a lot in 10 minutes. So I'd say that helps, of course, a lot. You have to double check it though, everything.
this address doesn't exist. You're completely right. I got that wrong. Yeah.
But I mean, it's something that becomes more and more important, right? And we are starting to test with that implementation, not through ChatGPT or Gemini, not the standard queries, but actually having systems that are built specifically for that, right? And then that's not related to crypto, but really like the entity or whatever we are investigating in real life. So of course that speeds things up. But at this point, it still doesn't take away from the human touch. The vibe, the feeling of knowing what you're doing.
Yeah. I think we encountered some technological stuff earlier about Monero, similar networks. Do you encounter Tor a lot?
Yeah, I mean, like most criminal organizations are using Tor. That's just a given. I mean, I was working on a case just very recently where we were looking into what seemingly seemed like a very innocent device, but there were Tor browsers and everything hidden within it, all playing around with cryptos. And we're like, okay, so we came looking for one thing, found something much, much deeper, right? So, yeah, it's still king in many aspects.
So some cases have ballooned to like way bigger compilations of stuff than you have imagined. Have there been cases like where you're doing an investigation and then you encounter another investigation you're doing at the same time?
Yeah, we have had 2 investigations clash where we thought there was nothing to do with each other, right? We were working one investigation in the UK, and we were working one investigation around, well, in the Nordics. And looking into that, suddenly we saw, okay, but suddenly 2 people that you wouldn't have thought were actually part of these same organizations are found in the same case after looking into it for a while. But it happened, and in the way that first we were looking at this, and we were looking at like maybe it was 100,000-ish euros or so. And it was going around, and like the different banks in the Nordics, and we're like, okay, we need to clearly see how this is related to these other accounts in the Nordics, right? So bank accounts, because there are other people involved. And as we're looking into it, the deeper we went, suddenly we were from that 100,000, we're looking at like 200 million euros where this money had gone to. So suddenly there's a big organization behind this. Now you're not talking about an amateur scammer anymore writing emails. It's actually a bigger organization. And as we're looking into it, suddenly one company was connected to another one in a completely different case. We work in the UK, and we're like, what? So this network is really spreading, and still working on that though.
Did you give like a group discount if it was 2 people paying to find the same scammer? Like, there's a discount code for you guys here.
Luke, you don't have to pay us anymore.
Valega 01 discount code. No, we haven't even told them about it yet.
Yeah, but it's still, there's a whole different report to each other of them, of course. But yeah, you'd get double win if you find the criminal, though.
Technically, the UK case wasn't even related to a scam or anything. It was just like standard due diligence that were being run, and then so that was kind of the interesting thing, that really deep down the rabbit hole there they were connected.
Fascinating. Yeah. Super cool.
It is.
Are you hiring?
Soon, probably. Once we complete this funding round.
Yeah, that's good. What about like the best practices for exchanges or like crypto companies? What would you say they should be doing differently, or what would be the main things that they should maybe consider adopting? What protocols? Or
I mean, I would say that right now, most of the regulated exchanges are actually doing really well, actually. Not that we're surprised or anything, but it's there we've seen a much more proactive side on how to combat crime. I would say it is more the communication between analytics partners could be more transparent in that sense. I mean, when we come there, we are still asking like, hey, you know what? this is something that we've seen. Maybe you have already filed this as a suspicious activity report, but we're working on this case, and anything you can give us that be decent. As long as we show that these are the credentials we have, we're not part of the scam groups. That could be, of course, one thing. But then it is really educating on how scams actually work. Because of course, even for an exchange, it's annoying and frustrating when suddenly it's your exchange that has been used for a certain scam, and then you have to deal with it, and have the financial supervisors knocking on your doors. It's not great. But I think that's really it. Otherwise, good job.
So would you say it's more like the retail is more exposed to criminals in that sense that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. At the moment, yes, and a lot of them don't even know it. And I would say with quite a lot of confidence that there's not a single bank right now, actually, that has not had some form of crypto exposure, be it illegal or legal. Just, if they come and say like, oh, we don't, yeah, you do. 100%. It doesn't matter if you're in a tiny town or not, you have had it at one point or another, or still have and already have. I think that's one thing. And, these regulations are kind of showing it.
By the way, do you have any grasp on if we look at the criminal revenue side, are criminals getting more revenue from companies / institutions or retail? What do you think are the volumes?
I would say, of course, overall, it's most likely the actual companies.
Yeah, because they're so big, like $1 billion.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have ransomwares that can happen where, they're not going to inform the police, or not. They're just going to go quiet. They'll just pay the ransom and never mention it.
Yeah, I think the smartest ransomware criminals are like they have checked the books of the company and they know what they can pay without like hurting them too much. So they're like, we want exactly X amount. So yeah, they don't want to cross the threshold where it goes to.
Yeah, and like I guess it would be bad publicity to announce that we've been hacked.
Absolutely. I mean, and for some companies, and it doesn't even need to be your big digital companies. It can be accounting firms, and they'll be like, okay, this would ruin our reputation.
What would you say? How many % of the ransomware cases stay like not public?
That's hard to say, actually. But I mean, to give you the example that the things we see on the news from these ransomware cases, we have had more indication from law firms and customers coming to us, way more than just what we've seen on the media. And these are like equally sized companies, big multinationals, who's like suddenly it's like, and it can be such a small thing, it can literally be that for them it's 2 million euros, which is easy for them to do. But they just want to make sure they're still safe. And we're like, yeah, well, not a cybersecurity company. We understand that you paid this, or, so, but now you've already done it, and we're not going to, we'll refer to the cybersecurity companies to help you with that part. Can't come to us after the fact. We can trace it, but if you don't want anybody to know, then, we can't still recover it in that sense. You still need the police in the end of the day for that.
Yeah. Are there any new interesting scams going around?
What a question.
I think that it's still all the scams that are currently happening still fall into those same categories we've spoken about, but it's just more of like, what are they used for? And I think that's kind of an interesting point, because like you're seeing, okay, the pig butchering schemes, romance scams, or like sextortions and that. You'd think like, oh, but this is very targeted just for this, but usually that's money that is used to fund a completely different operation, be it illegal wars, terrorist groups, so they're all interconnected. So it's just a different way to get revenue to the scam organization. Something that I found out coming out of Brazil, for example, recently is the illegal animals, like the endangered species sales, for example. But those are used to fund cartel operations or illegal logging operations.
I wonder how that works with the criminal, like the more sophisticated, like ransomware scams or whatever. Is it that let's say some warlord wants to fund their war, and do they pay like the criminal organization? It's like an investment, and then they use that money to get resources, and then they kind of give you money on the investment, or like what they're like, you pay us 200,000 a year, and then you get back whatever we get, and then oh, you got 500,000 or something like that.
I mean, a lot of it is, of course, slavery, unfortunately. You know, those people who are doing the scam calls and who are doing, you know, the shakedowns, they're usually not getting paid. They're, you know, we see an uptick in. I mean, we see I mean, the leaders get, of course, but a lot of people are actually just slaves. Like they're there to just get food, and they're being abused. Like that's kind of the standard we see in that. Unfortunately, I mean, you know, slavery is a huge thing around the world. It's one of the biggest industries.
Slavery is popular.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest industries out there.
Yeah, that's weird. I haven't really thought about it being a big thing in modern days. I've thought more that it's like poorly paid, like people in like let's say India, they are at the scam call centers and they make like, I don't know, $30 a month or something like that.
Or less, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, there's, you know, you can have your passport confiscated by the organizations or so. I mean, you know, and it's like, yeah, you know, you'll get food and water and a roof over your head, and that's that.
And maybe if you work really hard, we'll let you go.
Exactly, that's usually how it goes, right? But I mean, I heard somewhere that there's, of course, more slaves now than there's been in the entirety of human history. You know, so it's kind of where it stands, and a lot of them are working these deep organizations, you know, hidden somewhere.
Call centers, basically.
Yeah, I think actually one of the Finnish journalists uncovered one of those in, was it in Bulgaria or something? I don't remember, but
You know, I think I've seen one big butchering place uncovered in Abu Dhabi or Dubai. There's like this huge compound, like multiple houses, and it's all just all just like females from like Eastern Europe, scamming people all around the world. Yeah, that's crazy.
I mean, heck, I get scam calls very often, and I'm like, ugh, just at least Google me before you try scamming me. You know?
Yeah, I'm not the guy you want to call.
Google a company, like, because usually they're calling the company and saying like, oh yeah, your company's doing this. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one hack I was targeted with was this like, do you want to work on the side? Do you want to earn like 200 bucks per week? Like really easy. Test this game out, and then they send you an executable. Like, try this.
Did you click it?
Nope.
Good.
Yeah, I had one scam headhunter contact me also like a year ago or something like that. Then I realized it was I had heard about the similar scam on Twitter, and it was like that if they want you to make a video yourself, and then they have the specific apps that they want you to use, and if you try to use it, you will download a ransomware or something like that. So. Or they'll some point, like after 2 months, suddenly all your funds will be gone because they have a keylogger or something like that.
Yeah, that's not cool. But that's what it is. You know, never click the links. You know, run it.
Life is really hard if you never click the links or download.
But you know, I mean, Google are pretty straightforward. If you're using Gmail, you know, they're pretty straightforward with actually analyzing the links that are coming in. You know, but I would say. Yeah, I mean, not to give them the ad right here, but it's like just by actually looking where the link actually goes is something a lot of people don't think about. Either they'll just ignore the email, which is probably what you should, but if you are feeling like you absolutely need to click that button, just do the right click and see like what is the actual address it's going to. Is it really that company or?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool that browsers have backstepped their efforts to hide the whole URL. They were like, I think Safari did it first. Like they hid the whole URL and it only showed the like domain.
The actual, yeah.
And it's like, why? this is so bad. Please show the whole URL.
Yeah. So it doesn't look ugly or what?
Like it does.
Yeah, I think we've covered quite a lot of, yeah.
We have.
Do we have anything more to discuss here today? Do you have any
Anecdotes?
Yeah.
No. Do you?
No, not more than what we just talked about.
So let's one last question. What if someone has listened to this conversation, or what should they remember after this? What's the one thing that they should do or learn from this discussion?
I actually would say that it's basically, crypto is not as scary as people think. Like, you can get scammed anywhere. If anything, crypto is the one we can actually trace very easily.
So the takeaway is it's not safe anywhere.
And I would say, it's just like, don't be scared. Try something new. It's, don't be scared about we can definitely also very much promote the whole crypto is safe everywhere.
By the way, do you publish any like case reports, like when it's solved and published? Or where can people find more about your work? And
well, of course, we have some things that have been published at valegachain.com. So that's, of course, the easiest way to find it. There's some news out there as well. And yeah, I guess we will start publishing more quarterly reporting in general about overall situations, at least to those who are subscribed to it.
But you don't do like this pop size stuff that, for example, Zach XBT.
yeah, that would be great. I love to read a good thread, on Twitter.
Maybe we can quarterly update you guys through the pod.
That'd be great. All right, but thank you so much. This was a very good discussion, and yeah, this was very interesting.
Thank you for having me. It was really nice. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that was it, and thank you if you listened this far, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.